Your desire is all that's required. The rest is strategy. If you've got something to say, if you've got something to share, more people to touch, fabulous. Let's go.
My guest today is a dear friend of mine.
One of them goes, that one over there, she's big money. And it was my guest today.
Her name is Amy Porterfield.
Amy Porterfield, the ever amazing
best-selling author of 2 Weeks Notice, Miss Amy Porterfield. It's always fun to invite a real friend onto your podcast when you know each other really well and the banter's good and the conversation feels natural and it just feels easy, which is a perfect word to use for my guest because she has a podcast called Let It Be Easy. But before I tell you all about my guest credentials today, I thought it might be fun to tell you a little bit more about her as a friend. So we've been friends for many, many years. She's one of my most favorite friends because her life is really elegant. Like when I'm talking to her, she's going to dinner at a fancy restaurant, or she's going to spend a month in Paris with her and her husband, or she's going shopping with girlfriends. Like, I just love her life. And she has, I think it's an English accent. I know I should know that, but she has an accent. So it sounds even more fancy. I know her well, but you might not know her well. Her name is Susie Moore. And so I thought, let me give you a glimpse of what she's really like in real life before you hear this interview where she's going to be this media mogul who teaches you how to land your own media opportunities without a PR agency. Like, it's a really, really valuable episode we just recorded. But before I tell you all of that, let me tell you how she is as a friend. So I have these text messages on my phone from her, and I just think they're hilarious. So Susie's known for sending her friends random text messages out of the blue just to check in on you. Like, that's the kind of friend she is. I am not as thoughtful. I get busy. I forget to do it. But like clockwork, it never ceases to amaze me when a text comes in out of the blue from Susie. And a lot of them always include images that makes it even more personal. Like, she'll take pictures of her and her husband or the scenery of where she's at. It's just, she's a fun friend to have. So these are the text messages I've gotten over like the last month. Are you ready? Good morning, gorgeous one. Sending you loads of love today. That is all. So that was one of them. The next one was, this is one of my favorites. How bloody incredible are our lives. I was thinking of this quote today. What a wonderful life I've had. I only wish I realized it sooner. Come on, that quote. And that's so her. She's so inspirational. So I want to read that again. What a wonderful life I've had. I only wish I realized it sooner. And then she gets a little spicy sometimes. This is one of my favorites. Heath and I, that's her husband, Heath and I have a sexy staycation tomorrow at the cutest hotel in Palm Beach. What are you up to? And then, of course, there's a picture of her and Keith. Like, she's just a really fun friend to have. And so, like I said, having a friend come on the episode or come on the podcast and you get to just talk about all things business, but just know how much you love her, it just makes it more fun. So I hope you feel that this episode is really valuable, but also a lot of fun. So let me get a little bit official here and tell you about Susie if you've never heard of her, which I doubt that is the case, but just in case. So Susie Moore is a former high-powered sales director turned life coach. She's best known for her refreshingly practical take on confidence and ease. Like, she oozes ease. She's the author of Let It Be Easy. It's a book that I encourage everyone to get. Let It Be Easy, and the book Stop Chasing Your Likes, 2 best-selling self-help books that blend warmth, wit, and wisdom. And like I said, she's the host of the Let It Be Easy with Susie Moore podcast, where she's interviewed thought leaders and shares like bite-sized coaching insights. Some of her episodes, because she does them daily, some of them are like 5 minutes long, which I kind of love. So she's been featured on the Today Show, Good Morning America, Dr. Oz, Forbes, the Katie Couric Network, Oprah, Business Insider, and Marie Claire. Those are literally just a few of them. And I say all of that because she's going to help us today figure out how we can get more media opportunities like that in a really easy way, meaning we're not going to overcomplicate it. We're not going to hire someone to help us do it. We're going to do it ourselves. Now, what's really special about Susie is she grew up in really tough circumstances. She was living in shelters and growing up around addiction for most of her young life. And she credits her transformation to discovering self-help at the age of 15. And this woman, she's just such a great example of doing the work and really making your life exactly what you want. So when you listen to her, just you can't help but be inspired. So now she runs a multi-million dollar business and it's a coaching business, and she empowers women to stop seeking approval and start leading with self-trust. And one of the really cool things, if we talk business, I would say that 90% of Susie's business, now remember, she makes multiple millions a year. I would say 90% of her business is automated, is evergreen. She sells courses, but most of them are on evergreen, and she sure as heck does not work a 40-hour work week to make that kind of money. And I think her secret is that she doesn't overcomplicate things. She lets it be easy. She doesn't worry about what other people are doing or how much money other people are making or is she measuring up. She doesn't even care. She just makes sure that she measures up to the life that she wants. And I think that's really cool. So, anyway, I won't make you wait any longer. I want to introduce you to my dear friend, Susie Moore. Many of my listeners, they know you. They know that you are, in my mind, the queen of media. That's how I look at you. And so I want to get right to it because many of my listeners, they believe that media is only for those with big followings or fancy credentials, but I know you can debunk this. So like debunk this and explain who the media is really looking for because things have changed.
Oh my, yes. And this is definitely what comes up the most whenever I have a conversation with someone who's curious when they see maybe me appear in media that they're interested in, or they comment that someone that they know or an industry peer is getting great press in perfect publications. People think, oh, there's like a magical selection process behind the scenes. Or if you're born under a lucky star, you might get chosen, and there's a process and it's secret and there's a velvet rope. Like, how does it happen? Oh my gosh, I want everybody to know, everybody who even has the slightest inkling to share their message in a bigger way, that the only difference between someone who is showing up in the right publications, speaking to the right large engaged audiences, and someone who isn't, is they are actively pitching themselves, meaning they're presenting themselves before the right media outlets saying, hey, I've got something that could be useful, valuable, helpful, or entertaining to your audience. And yes, Amy, it is as simple as that. There is a structure and a system that certainly works, but you have to be willing. First of all, you have to be aware that it's available, and then you have to be willing to go a little bigger and be a bit more generous with what it is that you know.
When you say be a little bit more generous with what you know, what do you mean by that?
Most of us keep our stories to our inner circles or to our clients or to our social media posts or to content or owned audiences that we already have, like a podcast or a YouTube channel or a newsletter. All wonderful. Keep doing all of the things that work. But if you know something that can help one person who's looking for a job, say you're a career coach, if you're giving advice to someone who just graduated or someone who's looking to re-enter the workforce after a period at home raising kids, or you've got advice on how someone can get promoted, of course, share far and wide wherever you can with who you have access to. But we know that social media is at an all-time low in terms of reach. And there's actually an 18% decrease year after year. So Instagram reach is 4%, not engagement. So reach, meaning if you have 100 followers, 4 people, if you're lucky, just see your post. Facebook is 2.6%. So even less. So if you're showing up with your great advice, your stories, how to get out of debt, sharing your fertility journey, your health tips, your sleep tips, why just reach the select few who might be lucky enough to find you when there are so many audiences out there hungry for content and you can provide it, you can show up?
Yes. Okay. I love that. Going beyond your inner circles, your email list, your social media, your audience, your students, your inner circle of friends in your industry. We're going way beyond that, which will help you grow your visibility. And what I love to talk about the most, your email list. So you kind of already touched on this, but I still wanted to make it very crystal clear. True or false, landing media opportunities allows you to rely less on social media and the pesky algorithm to grow your email list and your visibility. True or false?
This is a merciful, yay!
right? Amen.
yes,
Like social
yes.
media is so frustrating. And when you say the 4% or lower than that, and I work really hard on those social media posts, so it kind of breaks my heart. But you're saying get media opportunities. And when you say media opportunities, you're talking interviews, radio shows, TV shows, magazines. What else am I missing? Is that what we're talking about?
It's everything. Yes, Amy, all media is good media. More is more when it comes to visibility because as you know, I mean, you're the pro. I've learned so much from you on this. Audience development is never a question mark. It's never on pause. It's never an afterthought. We're in trouble when that's the case. We always want to be growing how many people we have access to, replenishing the bucket. There's always attrition in different business models. So how are we doing that? Like this isn't a nice to have. It's not a, oh, I'll get around to boosting my audience and growing that list and beefing it up. We have to do this, not even just to grow, but with consumer confidence being at an all-time low or a 12-year low right now, we need to be out there and get discovered in ways that we're trusted, that reflect our credibility. And when I say credibility, it doesn't mean you have to be a PhD. It doesn't mean you have to have 30 years experience in your field. It means using your life. Your life is cred. No one is happier than a consumer reading a story that connects to them. Someone who's like, oh, maybe you're a little further along. Maybe this gives me hope. Maybe this gives me some great instructions. Maybe this teaches me something that I didn't know. So, this is really the generosity piece, right? Showing up where people need you, they just don't know about you yet. That to me is always my number one job, being visible, because then after that, my podcast, my books, courses, all the things, they're available to the people who know about them. But visibility first. And you don't have to build this from scratch. The media outlets exist. They've been around in some cases for over 100 years. So you get to just tap right on in there and have access to all of the people who know and love and trust these media brands.
Yes. You know, I was thinking, I have a big group of students who are just starting out. I call it they're in their Kickstarter phase. They're still in a 9 to 5. They're thinking about leaving. They want to start an email list. They want to create a course, but they have zero social media following and zero people on an email list. And I want them to grow their social and I want them to grow their email list. But they always say, Amy, if I have zero people on a social media, how would I ever grow my email list? Media. If you start getting really great media opportunities, that will absolutely drive more people to your landing pages for your freebies. And if you can mention a freebie in a media opportunity like a lead magnet, holy cow, even better. But your specialty is all about you don't have to hire a PR agency. So talk about that because a lot of people that are listening, they think to get really good media opportunities, they need someone out there pitching them and that has all the ins with all of the contacts. Maybe back in the day, like a long time ago, that was true, but today it's totally not true. But why isn't it true? Because I would think that you would need a PR agency to get some of the big things.
It's so interesting how people have come to me having hired PR firms, maybe for a book launch or something else that they're working on that's significant, and they're in real panic mode. They've spent sometimes 5, 6 figures, I mean, multiple 6 figures in some cases, and they're not getting the results. And all I can say is this: PR firms exist. Many of them do a great job. Many of them have questionable mixed results just based on feedback that I've received. And no guarantees are given. I know that they're a big investment. I know that the relationships aren't direct that you form with the media via a third party because a PR firm is an intermediary. And if I had a PR firm, which I don't, and I've never used one, and I had, say, 50 clients and 10 times as many contacts, I've got to be careful. Like, who am I introducing to who? I can't be everyone all the time. I'm acting like a broker, giving select people select visibility to the people that I know. And when it comes to building relationships in the media, you don't own any. It's via the person that you're paying month by month on a retainer in most cases. And so you don't have this skill and this Rolodex that you start building from day one with your first feature that lasts you a lifetime. The relationships that you build, you getting your inroads in media, it sounds like that group that you're working with, they are primed for media now. I say day one, before I even had a website, Amy, I had my first media feature. And then when I was like, whoa, I saw my first feature was shared nearly 4,000 times. and on a site called Mind Body Green that I still love. When I had a website, when I finally got my act together, I realized, whoa, okay, there is divine providence working. There is a way to grow quickly. I had a logo, and then I had another logo, and then I had content that I could host. I'd host my articles also on my own platforms. And that grew from the very beginning. I got my list to 29,000 people in 9 months. And this is
Whoa.
Yes, and, one other thing, Amy, which I often forget to say, so I must say it now. I was paid in most cases too to do that. The media also pays you in many cases. So where else is this true? I haven't found anything else where you receive all of these blessings and benefits to increase your impact, grow your audience, and have fun. The media is fun. People celebrate it, your clients celebrate it. There's nothing quite like it, especially the first few times.
It's really impressive to your audience. I remember I got a Forbes article, and it was crazy how many text messages I got and how many DMs I got congratulating me, what a big deal this is. And I thought it was a big deal too, but it was so cool that other people looked at that like, whoa, that is really cool. And I'm all about those logos, those media logos on our websites. Just start accumulating them and getting more and more. I think they say a lot that you're in demand, what you have to say matters. So I absolutely love that. Okay, if someone's listening right now and they're like, wait, I'm kind of liking this. I have a small email list, a small social. I would love to get placed in some media, help me grow my visibility and email list. I'd love to do it without a PR agency because I can't afford one right now. What would you say is their first few steps? Like, how do they get started with something like this?
First of all, get excited because this is so much closer than you think. And it's wonderful when the majority of people think something isn't accessible. It means that most people don't do it. And that's the difference with us. We are going to do it. Whenever I speak to anybody who wants media, I'm like, okay, let's commit now because we're literally just a few steps away. Like your desire is all that's required. The rest is strategy. If you've got something to say, if you've got something to share, more people to touch, fabulous. Let's go. So the first couple of steps would be as simple as this. Think about what it is you want to share. And maybe that's really obvious for some people. Maybe they've even had some success with a social media post, or they have a talk that they give, or they have a framework that they use for their clients that could become a media feature very simply and beautifully. Or maybe you want to share a personal story, specifically, maybe how you got into your line of work or why you care about the field that you're in. I call this creating your celebrity advantage, which is basically all it is that you're going to become or start becoming known for. And it doesn't mean that you have to commit to it forever. It might just be your stage in life and business now, but we have to start where we are with what we have. So think, what is it I would like to say? What would bring me pride and satisfaction? And what would bring me this sense of peace, knowing that I'm putting this message out there in a way that can be of service to others? Start there. And we can just start with one simple idea. It doesn't have to be profound. It doesn't have to be original.
Okay, so when you were saying all that, I was thinking, you know how you told me off camera, you were telling me that you recently wrote an article about growing up in domestic violence.
Filters, yes.
Yes, shelters. I want you to talk about what that article was about, but did it relate to your business? Did it help your visibility? The reason I ask is how do you know when to get like really personal? And then how do you know to like to just stay on the straight and narrow of business? Like, what does that look like?
Oh, this is such a good question. Okay, so a couple of things. The media, from my experience working with lots of different entrepreneurs, coaches, creatives, consultants, now thousands, is that there are typically two types of story. And I'm keeping it simple here, but it is your advice and your tips. So, for example, if I were a chef, I'd be giving incredible recipes, alternatives, health suggestions for cooking, if that were my remit, your work, what it is that you do day to day, being able to spread that. Be generous with what it is that you know, reach more people and give them a sample of you, saying, come this way for more. That's essentially what it is in the media. The other way is really your profile, because it's really interesting in the media for us to learn about your story. Someone in my community right now was an engineer for 30 years, and now he's in costume design. And that's interesting. And of course, we can talk about fashion trends, design, we can work within the realm of style. But this is also a story. His personal journey is interesting. So I love to do both. Most of my content is life coach or advice driven. I'm known as an advice columnist now. But I also lean into parts of my story that I'm comfortable sharing so that also opens you up from a credibility standpoint. Not even just the media publication, which really elevates you and makes you feel really good about sharing your story, but it means that you're open and you're willing to share maybe what you went through trying to get pregnant or getting out of debt. Or I was divorced in my 20s. I've written about that. Maybe you've gone through grief or a loss. Maybe you've moved country. All of these things are interesting because they happen to lots of people, and we need people who are out there talking about it. And so that piece about living in domestic violence shelters, growing up in them, I shared 5 lessons, takeaways, mainly around resilience. It was content around resilience. But for me, that was life coaching advice and also my story. And you can see it's on Wondermind, which is a Selena Gomez owned mental health platform. And then they share it. They collab with me on Instagram. Selena likes it. Her mother, who's the CEO of Wondermind, shares it. And of course, there's a link to my new podcast, right? Let It Be Easy. So I'm getting my pod. And then when that happened in tandem with another media feature, and then I'm number 1 in self-help in the podcasting world.
What? Susie, that's a big deal. Okay, I want everyone to just see, I wish I could rewind a little bit, how just this one article that you were vulnerable and real about, that it trickled into all these different things, and all of a sudden you hit number 1 on self-help podcasts?
Yes. You know how you check these every day, they vary, have the same players. I'm like, "That was the streams, that was the spike." And on my podcast, my policy is I only sell my own products. So, I have my membership, I have different downloads, of course, the landing page magic that I've learned from you, Amy, along the way. I'm so set up, so when there's a new listener, I hope I give them lots of value and joy, and if they wanna go a little deeper, they get an invitation after every episode.
That is so good. I
Why
love
wouldn't
the
you?
trickle effect,
Oh,
right?
oh my gosh, I'm obsessed, and also, speaking of email lists, every media outlet has an email list. So, every day I get Katie Couric's it's called the Wake Up Call, her newsletter, Refinery 29's newsletter, Wondermind's newsletter. Every day I get them, and just like us, they have email lists, and they link to your content, to your articles, and then you get the spikes those days too, and so often they rehash old content. It is the gift that keeps on giving, Amy.
I can see how this could be addictive. Like, once you get a few, you're like, I think you're addicted to it in the best way. Like, you know how powerful it is, so you're like, "Give me another hit. I want it."
Yes,
Yes.
and I just feel like so if you care about leverage and really getting an ROI for your time and energy, I've not found anything that gives me the bang for the buck like media. You get cred, authority, email subscribers. Actually, I just saw this in my group. One lady who spoke about menopause, and menopause is having a moment, so is narcissism. I mean, there's so much great content out there. Add to it. If you've got it, we need it. She just shared in the group. She's like, "Oh my gosh, once this piece got published, she had, I think, 40 new Substack subscribers and all these queries about her midlife membership." Because women are like, "Ah, yes, you are telling the truth about what it means to be a woman going through this experience, this transition." And I'm like, "Well, of course." And it surprises me how sometimes it's still surprising to others because to me it's clearly now obvious. I just want everyone to know about it.
It's pretty incredible how you could get paid for it or do it for free, but you don't have to pay for it yourself, and what it can do for your visibility, your email list, your traffic to your website. It is pretty incredible. But I was thinking when you were talking about pitching yourself to different producers and editors and all of that, what makes someone say yes? Like, what's something that you're like, I see people get this wrong in their pitches, or make sure to include this in a pitch? What's that one thing that you're like, I always am looking for this?
The one easy hack to stand out, to get essentially put to the top of the list for a yes and an immediate yes, is to make what it is that you're sharing really relevant to the moment, which is just simple timeliness, which is what many of us operate on in our businesses anyway. We'll reference seasons, we'll have holiday content. If you're a relationship coach, you'd have probably Valentine's Day content. The media is so epic in this way because it's really easy to loop into something that's already going to be happening. Every month is an awareness month for something. There are national and international holidays. And I always just love to, because all of my content is evergreen, all of it essentially. But if you just give it a little peg, like how to X during Y. So maybe it's dealing with, difficult family members, but is it over your summer family trip? Is it over Christmas break? And so when you make it really relevant to the moment, the timeliness is just likely to get you a rapid, okay, yep, let's do it and let's get it up. That is so easy to do. And I have a media calendar too, which I'm also, well, I'll talk about in a moment when we share something a bit more fun later.
Okay, so don't let me forget. I want to hear about this media calendar. I don't know anything about it. Okay, so let's say that someone listening right now, they have an email list. Maybe it's small. Like I said, they have a modest social media following. And let's say that she landed a great media opportunity in the niche that she's working in right now. Maybe an article for like the perfect publication for her niche. How can she maximize that? And you talked about it a little with Selena and all that, but what if Selena's not liking her post and all of that good stuff? How can she personally maximize one article?
It is incredible how it never ends. Once you have, just say you're featured in, I'm just thinking what a media outlet, just say it's Glamour magazine or Cosmo. So that's a perfect fit for your audience. If you're in Cosmo once, Cosmo is in your bio forever. I think most people also don't realize that. They think, oh, but that was in, 2000. Doesn't matter. That's how you've been featured. That's your logo forever. You put that all over your marketing materials. Of course, you share it with your existing audience. Clients freak out for you when you are in the media. They're like, it's a secret subtext of I knew I chose the right one. Like, look how smart I am. My coach, my this, my that, my yoga teacher, my wedding photographer is in Cosmo. Everyone brags about you. Step one, easy. Share it, of course, let people see it. And also that attracts more media. The more you're just simply visible, media pays attention to media. And I've had someone recently say to me, her first couple of features so she had 2 features in 2 weeks and then got 8 media requests as a result. So
Whoa.
so once you're out there, it's like putting yourself in the way of opportunity. Allow people to see you, allow people to find you. So you share, you have no idea. I mean, you put it out there into the ether, you have no idea what's going to come back. You then take your immediate win and then you use it to pitch your next media feature. So once you're already out, hey, I'm out here talking about angel numbers, or hey, I'm out here giving golf tips. Once you're in the media, people find you, they share, other media want you to chime in. And then because you've got a fresh release, you use that to strengthen your pitch for your next release. And then you test different links, test different landing pages, see what works for you. Have fun with this because unlike social media, a post gets buried very quickly, even a viral one after a certain period. Sometimes it's even just a matter of hours. The media content sticks. And then when it comes to someone looking up a wedding photographer, Googling, what's coming up when your name's typed into really any search engine? It's like, oh, featured here, featured there. We always lead with that. The organic ranking is always your media links because they're trusted, weighty links. And so you're putting yourself in the way of possibility today and in perpetuity in a way that compounds. So once you start getting out there, once you start being seen in new ways, it's almost like you have this, you shake hands with the universe and you're like, okay, let's go. We're in this together now. Where is this going to go? And Amy, I've had articles translated. I've gotten book deals because of my media, speaking opportunities. I don't really do brand deals, but I've had invitations as a result of media. And this is stuff I never knew in the beginning. I just wanted life coaching clients one-on-one. That was my only goal. So,
And now look at you.
and this is the one thing I've never stopped doing. So, yeah, yes,
That's a great point. Like trends come and go. We do things in our business here and there. But yeah, since the beginning, you've always really gave importance to media. And it shows because you get it so effortlessly now. I'm like jealous, but it's because you did the foundational work and you take advantage of like you just said, you get one and you can kind of piggyback for the next one. And I do love that strategy. When you were talking, it made me think that Forbes article that I got a while ago, I got it at like the most perfect time. It was right before a launch. Also, timing of media kind of can be pretty amazing if you can time it right, because it was right before my big launch. So my name was everywhere with Forbes. But two things. One, have you ever seen how Jen Gottlieb will like doctor up an image? And I don't say doctored up like in a bad way. Like she'll go into Canva and she'll make an image for the media that she's on. She might take like the Forbes logo, put her picture and put the title of the article. It always looks so good. What do you think about something like that?
I say use everything available to you to let people know where you've been because look, I don't make the rules. It is true that if someone sees you in a media outlet that they trust and respect, maybe their parents trusted and respected that outlet for years too, and someone's appearing, they are elevated in our eyes. The know, like, trust factor that sometimes does take time to build, and look, it should. With media, it's just a shortcut. It's like, oh, they're okay, well, they're vetted. I can buy something from them. It's safe to work with this person. And what is that worth? I mean, what is that worth to somebody? It's endless. And I've had people even reach out to me. My first $10,000 life coaching client, he just saw my Business Insider article. I was talking about retention, why people leave jobs when they're unhappy. And I just got an email, CEO interested. And he said, put a number, call me. I did. And he's like, okay, I need your help. My team are leaving. And he hired me on the spot. I got a 10K because of Business
What?
Insider. If I know, if I were even at an event and I was like, "I can help with that," he probably would have had to call around, maybe chat to a couple other people who could maybe do it, but it was that. It was like, he's so loyal, he's a subscriber, da, 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 da. Here I am showing up, done. And why wouldn't you let it be easy for people to make a yes, quick, rapid buying decision with you? And why wouldn't you even start the relationship there? Think about even just the power of that, the context of the media setting, what that does for you and your reputation and brands, and then starting off on that foot, there's something elevated about it, and we trust people who are in the media.
I love that you said you're like instantly verified. And for someone who's a new name and there's a lot of online noise, you want nothing more than to feel instantly verified by or validated by people that don't know you yet. So I love that elevation right away. This is totally off topic. Well, not off topic, but I have to tell you a quick story. So when I was thinking about that Forbes article, I've been in a few different things, but that one was a big one for me. But I was interviewed and she asked a lot about my family. And the article went in a way where I ended up saying something about my dad and it was truth and it was something that this is really awkward, but when my mom and dad were married, they're since divorced, but and you'll hear why. Because when my mom and dad were married, when they first got married, he said to my mom, I'm the man in this relationship. So if we're ever in a place that we can't agree, I will always be the final say. So you have to remember my parents are in their 70s now. There's a very different time when they were 20. But my mom told me my dad said that. So I went to my dad and I'm like, did you say that to mom? He's like, I did. And to this day, my dad still believes in that. He's remarried and he still believes he's the final say. So in this interview, that came out. And it was because I was talking about how I want women to take a bigger seat at the table. I want us to have a bigger voice. The reason I tell you this story is number one, I was really nervous about that article coming out, but I felt like it was an important story for me to tell. So I called my dad ahead of time and I said, look, I said this in the article. I just want you to know. And he's like, well, let me explain why I feel that way. And I was like, no, 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 no. I don't want to hear it. I don't like it. But anyway, he's still going to argue that he's right there. But the second thing is, Susie, that article, the response I got from it and the feedback, it actually propelled me to have a bigger voice in that area. It kind of showed me what my audience wanted to hear more of, what they responded to. There's tons of stuff in that article, but that was the one thing when I said I want women to have a bigger voice. That's what really took off. And it shaped me. Like to this day, that is a topic I talk about a lot now. So you never know where these articles might take you down different roads that could expose new opportunities or new topics you didn't even know you had in you.
I'm so happy you brought that up, Amy, for a couple of reasons. Number one, it shows how just when we tell the truth, right? Your story, you're not saying, I was born in a prince and I had a pony. And you're saying, hey, my dad said this thing that just doesn't feel right. And guess what? That's also true for a lot of families. And it's stuff that people maybe don't always talk about or they feel uncomfortable around. And you say it publicly in a big publication like that. Wow. I mean, people are going, "Ah, okay, lean in, yes." And what's interesting is you could say that on your podcast, on your socials, yes, all the things, but those people already know and love you. When you reach essentially a cold audience like Forbes or really any outlet, unless you're frequently showing up there, you're getting a real gut universal response to your work. So I always find that if I share my podcast, people love it because they like me. That's why they subscribe. But if I show up in an outlet the audience don't know me yet, I also get a really good gauge on what they want to know and what connects. And that informs my courses, right? That informs what I create content around in general. It informs like a next book direction. There is so much data just by even paying attention to what new large engaged audiences who are unfamiliar with you care about. And look at that insight that you got, maybe some kind of even throwaway comment or something that was maybe kind of came out accidentally. And whether you're being interviewed or even if you're creating content, one thing that I love so much is my editors say to me, lean into this. Wait, we need so much more detail here. I'm like, I thought that was boring. I'd skim right over that. That's not it. Let's get to the they're like, "No, and so I feel like I've become so much a better content creator, a better speaker, someone who's a better storyteller, and you get this advice from pros who are making your story better, making you shine, and then you take that with you into all aspects of your business and life forever. Like, it's an education. Like, this is the payoff that I get. Oh my I'm still learning. Like 10 years in, I'm still learning and I'm still like I'm full of appreciation all the time, full of appreciation for what gets to come my way because I was willing to go for something that might feel a little bit scary. And dare I say too, Amy, when you said you felt a bit nervous about that piece coming out, my first ever piece in ink was sharing that I have zero formal qualifications. Zero. And
That's
this
something that people feel really insecure about.
Oh my gosh, I think it's such an advantage. I mean, think about it. You're an original. You learn. You're self-taught. And look, credentials are wonderful. Lean into them if you have them. But if you don't, what do you have? Right? You've probably got a few lessons that you've learned independently. And how beautiful to share them. How wonderful.
I
Because
love that.
we're all in this together, aren't we? And I remember when that piece came out, I had so many people shared their stories with me, and all I said was, "In order to succeed, all you have to be is results driven. Results driven, results driven." I probably phrase it differently now, but I said, "As a life coach, I only care about results. What do you want? Let's get it. Then I've done my job with you." Right? You have to work with me, but that's all I care about, and that's basically what all anyone cares about. Will you get me a result? Yeah, will you get me a result? If I work with you, Amy, will I create this? If I work with that person, will they help me? La, la, la. We only want the after, and so that's what that my piece was about. I'll get you your after, and you don't need what you think you might need in order to do that.
What I love about that angle is that I have so many of my students who are just starting to put themselves out there and they'll say, I don't have the credentials. But if they saw that article from you, one, they instantly connect. They're like, me too. But then you put a total positive spin on it and they see a whole different side of it. One, you've given the biggest gift to somebody, but also they are connected to you now. Susie gets me. Susie gave me a special gift. I can move forward in a different way. The connection there, it's so powerful. So I love that you shared that example. Like you put something out there that other people would be like, ooh, you're admitting that? And you're like, heck yeah, I am. I like the boldness. I think these kind of media opportunities allow us to be bold if we want to be.
And can I say something else, Amy?
Please.
I find that if just say someone wants to share a story that might feel a little bit nerve-wracking. You want to share a personal story that feels kind of intimate. Maybe it is around divorce. Maybe it's around a friendship breakup. Maybe it's around getting fired. I mean, these things happen to millions of people every day. We have such shame and judgment for ourselves. And when we think, should I share it? Do I want to? Just that calling that you feel is a sign that probably yes. You want to know that people are going to see this and you want to be okay with that. But the way that I think about it, or what I've observed is, of course, you could do a TikTok or you could, make an announcement on any platform that you have. But when a really respectable outlet shares it too, it just feels like you're safer somehow, or it's like, oh, so also so it's Oprah magazine. Oh, I created a piece for Oprah about mantras that I use, and one of them was about losing my father to addiction when I was still a teenager, and I just spoke about one of my mantras being around loss, and it's interesting because addictions, there's a lot of taboo around it, not to mention death. I mean, these are things that people, it's not like, hey, cheers, let's talk about your dead part. And so I remember thinking, I'm just really happy that I felt kind of held by Oprah's audience in that, sharing personal stories. Of course, share them everywhere, do all the things, and I do, but it's also really nice to be highlighted in a publication that's really respectable and believes in it. And they do. The editors and producers want real people and real stories, not perfect happy endings, not, oh, I've got my after and I figured it all out now, life's great. We want to hear from what it is that you've experienced, what you're going through, and it doesn't have to be wrapped in a bow. You don't even need to be at the end. Beginner stories are great too.
Oh, that's so good to know. I love that you said that. It doesn't have to be like, I figured it all out and here's the solution, everyone. It could be, "Yeah, I'm going through this journey and here's what it looks like." I actually really love that. Okay, one more question I have for you, and that is you help people figure out how to land their own media opportunities, and you've seen it all. So give me like one or two mistakes that my listeners don't have to make because you're going to tell them right now, don't do this. What would it be?
The first would be waiting to think that there's an appropriate time. In fact, sometimes I see people who've got quite a bit set up, and then they're like, "Okay, now I want media." And I think, gosh, wouldn't it be amazing if we already had, this in place so that whatever it is you wanna release, we're ready, like day one, here we go. So I think to myself, the next time I'm launching a book, I've got my contacts, I've got my people, I've got my structure down. It's just I could even have someone on my team help me, that someone else could even do it now because it's so dialed in what I know, who I know, and how I create. So the sooner the better. I mean, ideally yesterday, like we start building this, and it really is you owning what it is that you can offer. And you don't have to be perfect, don't even have to be qualified in a traditional sense, just willing to be generous. So starting immediately. The biggest mistake I see is just really overcomplicating the process, sharing too much. If you're looking to pitch an idea, all you want to make sure is that the audience is a fit. So the people who are going to consume the information, they're the right demographic, they have the right psychographics, they care about what it is that you're sharing. You're reaching the right person who can say yes, who can green light this for you, and that you're sharing just enough. People often go into quite long soliloquies about their life and their stories, and it rambles, 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 and it's too difficult to read. So you might have a great timely idea, but because it's just not very easy to digest and editors are fast-paced people, it's just gonna get kicked to the bottom. So just communicating yourself clearly, concisely to the right person at the right time in the right place. You could be 6 months in. I mean, I was like 6 weeks in and get a win, and then it can snowball from there. So speed, right, making sure we kind of move fast, and then knowing that this is a simple process. And I find that high achieving women especially overcomplicate even simple processes. It's quite the irony, isn't it? And so what if
Guilty.
it's like there has to be all these steps or no, it really is. I've got a message and there are people who need to hear it. Let me connect the dots. So
So well said. Well, I love that you said you should get started yesterday. Like, let's go, let's not wait. And there's some people listening, they're like, okay, I'm kind of fired up. Like, I'm curious if I could do this. This doesn't feel as hard and it's easy to get started. So if someone's listening, I know they are, and they're like, tell me more. We have something kind of fun for them. We have something special. So will you talk about what you put together? But I'm going to be a part of it.
yes, and this is looping in that sexy media calendar. So
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay,
This
good.
this is my gift for anyone who wants to join live this incredible masterclass called Overnight Rockstar with Amy and I in June. Oh my gosh. I'm breaking down specifically how when you use the media the right way, you get a solid ROI. Not just getting paid attention, which is nice. Hey, it's good for the ego, but let's get paid. Let's sell your stuff. Let's grow your list, right? Intention matters. I'm showing exactly how it grows your email list and influence in a way that nobody else teaches it. I'm also breaking down the roadblocks that might be holding you back without you realizing it, and then understanding specifically what stories you can be sharing and what's hot and how you can get rolling now where you are with what you have by being yourself. This is really important to me. Perfect self-expression to me is living your highest life, right? Saying what you think, being who you are, not holding back. And so you don't have to morph into anybody, sound official. being yourself right now is perfect. There is so much media for you. If you've got the desire, oh my, the many doors are open. It's just a matter of showing up, checking out this class with me and Avi. I know it's going to be a lot of fun. And the link is getrockstarpr.com/Amy. So it's super easy, overnight rockstar. Bring your questions. Let's ideate, brainstorm, have fun. I tell you that there's nothing worth doing more, in my opinion. This is so much fun,
It's so
and
much fun.
it brings so many results.
Okay, give that URL one more time because people might be driving, busy, whatever they're doing right now. What's that URL?
Getrockstarpr.com/Amy.
GetRockstarPR.com/Amy. This is a live masterclass. Susie and I are both going to be there live. Susie's going to teach it. I'm going to be there just because I like to get active in the comments and talk to people about what they're doing and share ideas. So I'll be there the whole time. But what about this media calendar? Are you going to talk about it at the
Oh,
masterclass?
oh yes. For anybody who shows up and joins us live, it's my gift to you. And my media calendar has essentially so many holidays that you can peg your stories against. And I'll show you too in the masterclass how simple it is to do that. Whatever it is, you can attach it to a holiday. I assure you. And with looking 12 months ahead, this can help you plan your content planning, not just for media, but for your whole business. You can look at, oh, okay, this is Mother's Day. Oh, okay, this is National Ice Cream Day. Oh, okay, this is Mental Health Month. Okay, this is Autism Awareness Month. It's all there. And
So tying it back to different themes in different areas where you could add a lot of value based on what's coming down the calendar.
yes, and also even use AI to help you when you have that information and tying it in with your own story. This can be easy. Easy is my favorite word. So let's do it. I mean, the most important thing is suspending our disbelief. This is probably the biggest thing that comes up. People thinking, oh, you have to be fancy, you need a blue tick, you need to look a certain way, you need to be X amount of years in business. If I was starting all over, it would be the first thing I would do. Again, it was such a happy accident the first time, praise God. But I would start immediately with the media and then allow the unfolding of everything else to be much more straightforward.
You know, I want to mention real fast and then I'll let you all go. And that is that when she calls it overnight rock star, she really means it. Like you can overnight, you could have more visibility than you've ever had. Because I teach list building, I teach how to create courses, I teach how to build businesses. All of that takes patience and time. But you're saying, wait a second, I'm going to show you something that you can see some instant results quickly to help all that other stuff that Amy teaches you how to do. I like that. I feel like we're a good team. I feel like we're a good team, Susie.
Well, but you need both. If you're really gonna maximize this, you need both. You need an elegant setup that allows you to capture the attention when it comes, and then, of course, you need that tool to throw gasoline on people going, "Ah, oh, ooh, oh, why have I never heard of this person?" It's something that not just benefits you, of course, it benefits you and your message, but the media need you. You're not annoying them when you get in touch with them. And then readers, consumers, viewers, they need us. We just have to let them know that we exist. And this will always be my number one job, being visible. So everything else becomes simple.
Well, you make it easy, my friend, which is always your motto. Let it be easy. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. GetRockstarPR.com/Amy. That's the special live one that we're doing together. I'll put it in the show notes. But Susie, thank you so very much. It's always an honor to have you on the show.
How much fun. I cannot wait for our class and hope to see you all there.